Hi, Anna.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good here. So, how was your weekend?
My weekend? Is it? Oh, I didn't even know it was the weekend.
I know it's kind of a strange weekend because it's the 4th of July weekend, but Monday is not a holiday, and 4th of July is Tuesday, so it's kind of like almost like a false start, like, oh, celebrate Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Oh, back to work Monday, Tuesday, you know what I mean?
So Kim responded. Let's see. Let me see where she is.
Okay.
She did respond and said she was looking forward to it. And then oh, thought I had missed, thought I had it installed. Installing now. Give me a few minutes.
That's
Okay,
okay. Okay. Gives us a chance, you and I, to catch up a little bit. So,
good. So I just wanted to give you a little info about me and what's going on with me.
sure.
Um, like First of all, I'm just really impressed with your whole setup. You guys are awesome. I'm so thrilled to be working with you. I mean, you have no idea how many I've worked with many different companies, and um, you're so professional and just so good at what you do. I'm not trying to blow smoke. I'm just telling you honestly. It's
Thank you.
refreshing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We are very intentional about that. So I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me to hear you say that. And there's a lot of studying, a lot of reading, a lot of research that I think kind of never stops. And so I always try to package things in a way that's the most easily consumable by,
Mhm.
people like yourself, and try to just simplify and systemize as much as possible. So, and I'm very blessed that I was, attracted into a team with Dr. Stacy and Marcy and April Stewart Vaughn, who all have that same kind of intention and energy. So
Yeah.
yeah, we all have our different moving parts, and we're all very excited. We're all still, I mean, it really is a passion and a part of our, it's a divine calling. And
Yeah, totally. It's a divine appointment. So I'm the same. Jody's the same, I know, and Tammy is also the same. So Tammy just signed up as a diamond, and I don't know if you saw that. It was easy to sign her up. It wasn't hard. Jody taught me how to do it.
yeah, it is. Once people understand that, you don't have to, of course, but if you're going to be on this for the next 12 months, then it makes sense to buy 3 months in advance to
If
get
you can afford it, yeah,
if you
absolutely.
can afford it. And some people can't afford it. And I tell people, you don't have to do it. And if at any point in the time, this is like not a one time, like, oh, you don't have to have the fear, FOMO, fear of missing out. Because if you can't do it now, maybe a month or two later, because, people have taxes, people have plumbing, things that happen. I go, you can always upgrade. And okay, so you start off with the gold pack, 4.99.
Yeah,
You can't do
that's what
that
I like
right
about it
now.
too.
And
There's no pressure.
yeah, so then now instead of paying 15.99, for the entire gold pack, you already paid 4.99. So you just pay the difference and you have a
So
one-time
great.
upgrade. And
It's
so a
it's
lot of
great.
people, yeah, so it's wonderful. I go, you could just do it later, and it doesn't expire at any time. You can do it a month from now, 2 months, 3 weeks from now, a year from now.
Sorry, there's a guy mowing the backyard, so it might be. I hope it's not noisy.
Oh, I can't hear it. So
Okay, good.
so good.
Um, did she get on yet or no?
She just jumped on. So Kim
Okay, I'm
Johnson.
gonna go this way.
Okay.
Okay, I got honey on my table here.
Her
Okay,
she's connecting. Her audio is connecting.
great.
So, yeah, so the nice thing is, like I said, it doesn't expire. People can do it. I've had people a week later, they're like, oh, I can do it now. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
whenever you choose to do it, you can
there's no
exercise.
pressure. I love that.
Yeah.
There's no pressure. There's no incentives. Or, you got to get it done now. Like none of that. I love it.
No, there's no pushing. It's just making it available. And it really is about educating people, and
Mhm.
giving them the information. And then I always like to take the pressure off. You don't have to remember all of this. It's too much for anybody to remember. Hey,
Hello.
Hi, girls.
Hi.
How are we?
We're good. Nice to see you. So, this is Lillian and
Hi,
Anne-Marie.
Lillian.
nice to meet you.
Lillian. Sorry. And this is Kim.
Nice to meet you, Kim.
Nice to meet you too, both of you. Actually, AnnMarie, I've talked to her lots of times on chat, but not face to face.
Well, you're beautiful. I'd never seen you
Ah,
before, but very pretty. I was going to be in my bed too, but I was like, I should come out into the
I
kitchen.
am completely going to be comfortable here. So
you're fine, and you're
Great.
beautiful. You've got great style. I love your glasses and your gorgeous hair.
Yes.
Very
it's
beautiful.
scrunchy, so it's a mess.
Yes.
Oh no, it looks beautiful. It looks voluminous, and it just looks very nice.
You know what? I've only been on the patches for a week and a half, but I do feel like my hair has more volume. Is that something?
I'm so
you've noticed?
excited to hear about this. I can hardly wait. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've had so many people. I definitely have a lot more hair than I did before because my story was I got hit by a bus almost 6 years ago. And so when that happened, I lost like half my hair. And then I had a bald spot. The point of impact for me was I was hit by the bus while I was just 3 blocks shy of finishing a 16-mile bike ride. So I was hit from behind.
oh my.
So my bald spot was the size of my palm, and nothing had worked. Minoxidil, my doctor even sent me to a compound pharmacy and did a proprietary formula of estrogen and progesterone, and nothing. It was like bald as like just like your heel. It's like shiny and bald. And it
Wow.
wasn't until 4 months after I was on the patches that I'm like today, right now my hair is straight, but I was curling my hair because I like to use it wavy. And so I went to like take my curling iron or my flat iron and I pulled a piece of hair and it was only like this long. And I was like, what the heck? Why? And it's all uneven. And I'm like, it's supposed to be all this length, right? And I was like, what the heck? What? And then I realized I touched it.
Oh, how amazing.
I'm like, it's not bald anymore. So then when I went to my hairdresser, because I go to my hairdresser every three weeks because my hair grows fast. And I told Megan and Shane, I'm like, hey, can you guys look back there? It's like, what percentage would you say is it filled in? And they're like, girl, it's like 70% filled in. You only have like less than the size of a quarter at the top that's still bald, and the rest is like all like 70% has filled in. I'm like, you're kidding me.
Wow.
They're like, no.
Wow.
So I thought, wow, that's amazing. And now I have about 7 or 8 inches. So the hair is definitely growing. But they said, they're like, you know what? You have a lot of baby hairs growing all over. And I'm like,
How long have you been on the patches, Lillian?
June 22nd was a year.
That's all?
June, yeah. Because when I first got the patches, I have a lot of people that, reach out to me from either ICU, the emergency room, PICU, on the way to the ER. So my patches, when I first got them, I was using them all on my patients. And so probably for the first month to 6 weeks, it was just, and then I bought the platinum pack. That lasted me not even a week. So then I upgraded to diamond
Why did it only last you a week?
because I literally had people driving 2 hours from where I am. They're like, whatever's going on, their father just had back surgery. They're like, do you have everything I need? I will drive over to you right now to pick up everything I need. Tell me where to put them on them. So I kept
Wow.
my patches. So I was like, so finally in June, I'm like, okay, I need to make sure that I have, now that I had an idea what the demand was, then I'm like, okay, I need to order to make sure that I have, this is for me and this is, for patients and so forth. And anybody new coming on that needs the patches. And then I kind of, because at the beginning you really don't know, but it's like, because everyone can benefit from them. But yeah, so that's, so I didn't start till June 22nd. It was really funny. And then I kept on seeing incredible things.
June 22nd this year.
Last year, a year ago.
Okay. Okay.
Lillian, do you know what the day that I started on the patches?
Was it June 22nd?
June 21st.
June, the day before. Oh my.
It was the solstice.
Yes, summer solstice. Oh my gosh.
That's wild.
That is wild.
Almost a year later, exactly to the day.
Yes. OMG. Yeah.
Anyway,
That's
you seem like you've been on them a lot longer. I don't know. I saw Marcy and some of the others, and I don't know, just a year. But so I didn't know that story. I didn't hear that story before. But you were in a car accident, and then what other things happened to you? Because I just share with us both, because I haven't heard your whole story.
So 6 years ago, I was, like I said, 3 blocks shy of finishing a 16-mile bike ride. And that's when I got hit by an Orange County Transit Authority bus. And I suffered a traumatic brain injury, neck injury, back injury. So let's rewind the tape to 2004. My son, when he was 11 years old, he almost died of something called Guillain-Barré, which is a neurological disorder. It's a syndrome. Basically, your immune system gets confused, and instead of going after, germs, viruses, and bacteria, it turns on your peripheral nervous system, acting like that's the foreign invader, and it starts to eat away at the nerve endings, and in some more severe cases, which he had the most severe form, which is the axonal GBS, it ate the whole head of the nerve. And so he had the presentation of a paralysis. GBS always starts with a paralysis that starts with your feet and it progressively goes up. When it hits your diaphragm, the nerves of your diaphragm, because that's what controls your lungs, your respirations, inhalation and exhalations, people go into respiratory arrest. Oftentimes, if they don't catch it's not uncommon for them not to catch that. They pass away, or if they manage to catch it on time, they put them on a respirator, keep them breathing because they can't breathe for themselves, etc. And children don't normally get it. It's something that usually hits 50, 60, 70-year-olds after getting the flu vaccine, flu shot, or they've had some sort of flu, and then they have this syndrome, which is a malfunction of their immune system. So that at that time, prior to that, my background was more in emergency medicine. But when I was faced with this, then I quickly started a self-directed PhD in pediatric neurology, because now I'm faced with all these subspecialties in pediatric neurology, which I didn't even know existed. And so that's what kind of started me on this, health practitioner path. And then so I was the mother, of a child who almost died of GBS. We managed to get him fully recovered. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that I would be a neurological patient. And then I got hit by a bus, and now I'm on the other side where I'm the one who's the neurological patient, dealing with all the neurologists and everything that goes with that. So, so it forced me down. Life does that to everybody. I'm no different from anyone else, but I always have had this saying for probably the better part of 15 years that no experience is wasted. Everything you've ever studied, everything you've ever experienced, everything you've ever endured, no experience is wasted. You may not be able to connect the dots on the way as you're going through it, but looking back, you can connect the dots, and then we all glean, and you take those pearls of wisdom and those diamonds, and you can create something very beautiful, especially if you're not fighting yourself and you're willing to go with the flow. You may not know exactly, the picture may not be crystal clear, but you set certain intentions, and then the magic really begins. And I know some people have an issue with the word magic, but for me, the word magic is an acronym, which is manifesting according to God's infinite creation. Because God is the creator. That's how everything is growth and expansion. If it's not growth and expansion, then it's brown and dying and rotting. And so we want to be green and growing rather than brown and rotting and withering away. Death is a part of the cycle of life, but we can choose which way, if we want to grow or if we don't want to expand, if we just want to. Nothing is stagnant, as you're well aware. So that's the mini short version.
And so your results since you got on the patches?
So they actually
from the brain injury.
Yeah. So this is the fascinating part. So when some of the people that I've patched, they feel something immediately, and some people don't. And I was one of those people. Dr. Stacy too. When we first wore the patches, we didn't feel anything. We didn't feel warmth. We didn't feel tingling. We didn't feel vibration. We didn't feel electricity. We didn't feel cold. We didn't feel anything. However, for me, in the 3rd to 4th week time frame, I noticed all of a sudden, and one of the things was, there's a lot of information when you first get started on the patches, because just for starters, you have 12 patches for humans and then the 1 patch for the animals. The one for animal is just like the Ice Wave for humans. It's just different packaging, but the exact same patch. So basically we have 12 patches. So there's a lot to learn what each one of those 12 patches do, because at first you're like, okay, I need to wrap my head around what these do so I know what to recommend, right? And so I immediately thought, okay, I'm reading patch summaries, I'm reading all the pamphlets, I'm like, I got to make my way through reading the 90 independent research papers so I know what's in there so I can speak intelligently about this. And if necessary, I could quote stuff. And then I read one paper on ice wave. And as soon as I read that the keywords for that paper were it was almost like floodlights were on them. And I said, organic, nanotechnology, photobiomodulation, acupuncture points. I'm like, why is no one talking about this, referring to those keywords? Those keywords are they're like very boss. They're so clear. Organic, we all know Monsanto food and we know organic food. Organic is so important right now. No one's talking about that. And then nanotechnology, I'm like, duh, yes, they're using crystals. It's a nanotechnology. Photobiomodulation, Dr. Stacy was already talking about photobiomodulation. So I was like, heads up. Acupuncture, we know that we use acupuncture points to magnify the effects of the patches. But just bundling everything the way it was, like I said, it was like at the top of the paper. And I thought, oh, I need to commit those keywords to memory. I need to start languaging it moving forward. And I'm thinking, okay, because I'm still, even though I had already got my short-term memory back, I'm like still having the process that if I'm learning something, I'm, highlighting the paper, not just electronically, because I do electronically, then I print it out, 3D highlight it. And then I'll do my little note cards where I'll write it down because neurosomatically I'm trying to engage more than one, at least 3 or 4 of the neurosomatic systems of the body to really put it in my brain. And I just read that and I thought, okay, I got to commit this to memory. And then when I read the abstract, I thought, what, that too, I got to start quoting that. I'm like, I'm going to have to memorize this paragraph. The very next day, I'm on a Zoom call just like I am with you. And like I just read the paper, didn't have time to do anything else with it because I'm usually up with back-to-back Zooms all day long, And in the Zoom, I was able to, it was like I could see the paper in my head and I without any effort, trying to remember, I didn't have to memorize, I didn't have to learn it. It was just right there. Organic, nanotechnology, photobiomodulation, acupuncture points. And then on the right side of the abstract, it said, the Life Wave stem cell activation patches using organic nanotechnology, using photobiomodulation, which is wireless, which I thought was funny that they would say it was wireless, but it actually is. And in research, they have to distinguish whether it's battery operated, if it's electrically wired. So it's saying that it was wireless. It was a wireless technology. And I thought, haha, kind of cute that they put wireless, but that's inaccurate. I can understand they have to put that in the paper. And that they use traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture points to magnify the effects of the patches, and that there was a significant effect for all the subjects in the research study. And I thought, oh my gosh, I did not have to write it down. I didn't have to take notes. I didn't have to, all this other stuff that I normally would have had to do to ingrain it in my head, I didn't have to do it. It was just like one and done. And as I was in that Zoom, I'm like, my memory, my focus, my brain processing speed is through the roof. And I thought, this is back to where it was when I was in college. I'm like, no, it's better than it was when I was in college. I'm like, oh, and this is just a month in? So I'm going, OMG.
But you didn't notice anything until a month in.
It wasn't until a month in.
Yeah, because that's the same.
And which patches were you taking? Which ones at the time?
The Fantastic Five, which I started calling these the Fantastic Five because as I started, reading and becoming more familiar with them, I noticed I'm like, okay, so these are the foundational patches to take care of the primary systems of the body. So then I just started saying, I call these the Fantastic Five. And the other doctors and so forth and holistic care practitioners and brand partners, they're like, oh, yeah, they started calling it the Fantastic Five. Some people call it the Fabulous Five, but it's basically the same thing. But so whether someone is healthy, let's say they're an Olympic athlete or they're like a peak performance person where they're just into always optimizing their workout regimen and their body and their muscles and all of that, or someone who's chronically ill or someone who is in a trauma because they were in an accident, the Fantastic Five are the foundational patches. Not everybody needs Ice Wave, which is for pain management, because not everybody has pain, right? But these are foundational patches, whether you're healthy or if you have dysregulation, inflammation, chronic disease, something severe, multiple conditions, syndrome, everyone benefits from the Fantastic Five. So then I just,
And that does, sorry, does that include this new stem cell one or no?
it does. So it
Okay.
includes the mother stem cell activation patch, and it includes also the daughter stem cell activation patch. And then it covers the 3 primary master antioxidants of the body, which, as we go through this information today, you'll see how that affects not only your brain processing speed, it also affects your immune system, it affects your cardiovascular system, managing your inflammation, your hormones, and all sorts of other things. So we're going to go through that today.
Okay.
Those were the things that I noticed up front. And then after that, then there were days where it's like I would put the patches on and I'm like, oh, now I feel a little warmth inside of my body. It's not now I know when people say, ooh, I feel warmth, it's not warmth coming out that's environmental, which is normally what we feel. This is like a warm, glowy feel that's like from the inside, kind of like you're glowing from the inside, like radiating, like your core radiating out. I'm like, oh, doesn't last very long, but I noticed when I would put the patches on, not all the time, but sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, now I know what they mean by that. And then, you start noticing different things. And then different things start to disappear. Like I had, a dark spot on my lip that, was always covered up with lipstick. I'm like, oh, several months later, that was gone. I had some dark spots. Because, when you have a traumatic brain injury, and a lot of people don't talk about this aspect of it, but I've become, really kind of shedding light on this, because people don't think about how when you have a traumatic brain injury, and there's a lot of people who have traumatic brain injuries that are unaware that they have a traumatic brain injury. Can't tell you the number of people who've come to me who realize, oh yeah, after this accident or after this happened, either their personality changed, or they noticed that there were nuances that were different about them, and they're like, wait a minute, I'm realizing now that I have 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, or 10 out of 10 of the TBI symptoms. And your brain is your central processing unit. So you can equate your brain when you have a traumatic brain injury, whether you have a mild concussion. I would argue there's no such thing as a mild concussion. It's like mild brain damage. Brain damage is brain damage. So mild brain damage or more severe brain damage, it's the equivalent of your computer, where you can turn your computer on, electricity is flowing, whatever programs you have in there, you can access them, but your Wi-Fi internet connection is offline, where you can't access anything on the internet. The Wi-Fi connection isn't established, so any new information can't come in. And what happens is your entire body's chemistry gets out of whack. The longer that goes untended to, then your hormones are more out of whack, just everything, because everything is chemistry. So everything starts to get more and more out of whack, things start to get worse and worse, and you're not addressing all of these things because people don't know. Even a lot of physicians don't know, which is really alarming. But I've been fortunate that I've had some pretty amazing mentors who are not just dedicated to medicine, but they're very dedicated to figuring how things work and how to fix them, and are very dedicated to the healing arts. And so through that mentorship, I've been able to not only help prepare myself, got a gazillion medical certifications. I couldn't even tell you how many medical certifications I have, but that doesn't matter. What matters was I was in the quest to figure out how to help people restore their bodies. And then it came to the point where then I needed it for myself as well. So here we are.
I've got a couple quick questions. I guess a burning thing is I've got another commitment at 5. Are we going to be able to cover everything?
Yeah, so let me share my screen with you, because we're going to go over the Fantastic Five, and then we'll go over whatever is pertinent to you and your particular condition. Does that make sense?
And yes, it does. And let me throw the one other question out. You keep saying nanotechnology, and the term, so I'm pretty sciencey too. I don't negate the term nanotechnology in a positive sense at this point in time, but you keep referring to it in a very positive sense. So It's not graphene oxide type of nanotechnology. It's completely different, and it's light technology
It's crystal.
instead, correct?
Yeah, so it's organic nanotechnology. So it's the use of crystals. And so the stem cell activation patches, let's talk a little bit. I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see. So let me clarify that, because I know it used to be that was it was a good thing, then it became a bad thing because certain things that have happened over the last 3 years, and it's
Correct. Yeah.
so now it's a matter of clarifying and just getting to the actual like bottom line. Let me pull up. I need to open this up on my other table.
Hey, and I'd like to know if there's a way. I'm not really good at Zoom. Is there a way to make me smaller so I can see you bigger, or drop me off for a minute to see your screen? Or
While she's opening that, at the top right, if you go up to where it says view, you should see something that says view at the very top right. And there is
I only see the camera icon. Okay, video call effects. No. Settings.
You could do speaker,
okay,
like speaker view.
Speaker view would just show her as the main screen, and then we're at the top. Or gallery view is a different view where we see all of us. So just play around with it a little bit and see.
What do you see right now? Whoops, you still there? Oh shoot, are you still there? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see.
She's putting her screen on now.
I can see that bigger, and I don't see me now, so that's better. Did I do it, or did she do it?
I think
I'm sharing my screen, and so that's why you're able to see this in better size.
Perfect, and not me, because otherwise I was big and you guys were tiny. So this is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is recording. Will I be able to access this later?
Yes. So after this is done, I'll upload it to YouTube, and then you'll be able to watch this again. So it's definitely okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's talk. We always have to start off with a disclaimer, because the patches are not intended to treat, prevent, or cure any disease. We don't heal, cure, treat, or diagnose. Suggestions do not replace the diagnosis and treatment by a qualified licensed healthcare professional. That would be your doctor. We strongly recommend you consult with your doctor concerning your specific health challenge and treatment needed. No medical claims are being made with the suggestions here. The patches are an FDA Class 1 medical device. They are under the category of general wellness. Originally, the Department of Defense reached out to our scientist, David Schmidt, who had invented other things that they were aware of, and they approached him and said, listen, do you think you might be able to invent something to increase the energy of our Black Ops Navy SEALs? The Navy SEALs right now are on energy drinks and amphetamines, and we'd like something that'd be more organic, that would be better for them. They're the first line of defense. Of course, the energy drinks and amphetamines work, except when the effects wear off, then they crash. And so we want something that's better for them and that will sustain them, more comprehensively. So David, because he's a man of prayer and meditation, he said, okay, let me think about this. And he went into meditation, and in meditation he had this divine download where this technology was given to him that didn't exist yet. And so he went to the lab, started figuring it out, and then he came up with the very first patch, which is Energy Enhancer. And that was 22 years ago. That's this particular patch here.
Okay.
It's a 2-patch system. You'll see I'm wearing a tan colored patch on the left and a white patch on the right. And so all this patch does is increase your energy. And by it increasing your energy, of course, you're more energized, but it also moves the energy faster in your body. So I'm already kind of a high energy person. However, I wear Energy Enhancer because it moves the energy in my body faster. And when I got started on the patches, priority was my brain, right? But I also wanted to anything else that was in my body that needed repair. I wanted the energy to move as quickly as possible so that rapid repair, rejuvenation, and restoration would take place. So some people use it also for weight loss because you burn 300 extra calories a day just by being on this patch. So that's all individual. So we'll talk a little bit more here about some of the nuances of the stem cells. So let's talk about stem cells, what they are, what they aren't, and just some basics so that you have a greater understanding. When you have a greater understanding about what these stem cell activation patches are doing to your stem cells, then you can assign a greater meaning, and then you can embrace this more and consciously and with intention move forward. Does that make sense?
And yeah, it does. And just an FYI that I've actually done some investigation into stem cell therapies already. I have a condition in my joint of my foot that they can do some stem cell treatments, inject it. Obviously, this is less invasive. So I am familiar with stem cell treatments, stem cell therapies, what stem cells do and how they function within the body already. But I think it's good to have a overview again anyway.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. So you're going to grasp this a lot faster then, because you already have a familiarity. So the first thing to know about stem cells is that when your mother's ovum is united with your father's sperm, at that point of conception, you now have 23,688 stem cells that are going to immediately begin to form you in your mother's womb. And that's what turns you into an embryo, so that at the 6 to 8 week mark, we can actually visibly and auditorily, we can actually evidence the heartbeat of an embryo. You fast forward, turns into a fetus, fast forward a little more, becomes a newborn baby, and then take a few trips around the sun, you, me, and AnnMarie, and now all of a sudden, here we are on this Zoom call. Now, if you go to the 30-year mark, your stem cells turn off. You have 50% of them turn off when you're 30 years old. Not because you did anything wrong, not because they're damaged, not because they disappear. It's a function of age. When you hit 30 years of age, 50% turn off. And as you continue to age and grow, when you're 60 years old, almost 90 to 100% turn off. So now, that's why oftentimes you'll see people who maybe they were fine, most people, like, you don't see 10-year-olds with gray hair or wrinkles, right? That's something we see in people that are north of 50, 60 years old. So now you see someone who's in their late 30s, early 40s, maybe mid 40s and 50s, and maybe they used to play tennis when they were young, and maybe they had nursemaid's elbow, or maybe they had a rotator cuff issue, or maybe they had some sort of injury that affected their elbow, their wrist, or their shoulder. And now, and maybe they had surgery, maybe they didn't. But now, fast forward 20, 25, 30 years later, and now that pain that at that time was repaired, now not so much. Now they're starting to have bone on bone pain, nerve pain, all sorts of complications. Maybe they're entertaining getting rotator cuff surgery or what have you. And that's because you have less than 50% of your stem cells that are available to replace and restore that part of the body. So if you look, one of the key components of, it's nice for you to be aware of the fact that stem cells are pluripotent. What is pluripotent? Pluripotent simply means pluri is plural, that means many, potent is potential. So stem cells, because they're pluripotent, again, you had an ovum and a sperm that once they united, that created 23,688 soldiers that can go out there, and it can lay a brick, it can lay cement, it can lay wood, it can create whatever's needed in the body in real time. Every single one of those can create either, let's say, a blood cell, a fat cell, a skin cell, a stomach cell, a neuron for your brain, whatever you need. All 23,688 have the ability to create whatever you need in real time. Your body, as you sit here right before me, the youngest cells in your body are milliseconds old. The oldest cells in your body are 7 years old, okay? So without being on the stem cell activation patches, our entire body, we have about 56 trillion cells in our body, about 2 billion turnover a day.
Okay.
Without being on the stem cell activation patches, just a normal body function. When you're on the stem cell activation patches, everything is quantum, everything is faster, because you have 33% of your previously dormant stem cells are now turned on. That's 33% more energy that, boom, that's a lot of light, a lot of electrons, a lot of electrolytes moving and grooving throughout your entire body. So those stem cells, you got to think of our body. You don't have to, but I like to equate your body is the temporary housing unit for the energy, the personality that is you. So you don't build a house starting with the roof or the walls. We always have to start with the foundation. So the foundation is, we're going to start with the mother and the daughter stem cell activation patch and then go on to the master antioxidants, because these take care of the primary systems of the body. So we talked about this aspect, 50% turn off by the time you're 30, 100% of them turn off by the time you're 60. So how do these stem cell activation patches work? This is the exciting and fun part. You were asking about nanotechnology. If you look at this stem cell activation patch, you'll see that in the middle there's a white crystal lattice. That
Okay.
crystal lattice is made of organic nanotechnology. Those crystals are organic salt crystals, sugar crystals, a proprietary blend of amino acids, hydrogen, and water. That is the nanotechnology, the crystals. Those crystals are arranged in a very specific geometrical pattern, and that crystal lattice is also set to a very specific frequency. David actually had to create a machine to create frequencies to program these crystals to that specific frequency so that this mother stem cell activation patch would create certain effects in the body, which we're about to go over. Other thing,
I'm completely intrigued with this. You're talking my language, and I'm also sitting here thinking, you know what? There are some people that couldn't even comprehend this because of frequency, because of vibration, because of crystals, because of grid patterns. It's interesting. So just keep going. I just had to interject that.
yeah, so I'm glad that you're totally vibing with this and you're like eating it up, so to speak. So these crystals, this patch is activated by you. Your body is the battery and the energy source that activates this. This by itself does nothing. It has to interact with your body. The moment it's on your skin, the moment it touches, 33% of your originally dormant cells, boom, are turned on. How? Well, this crystal lattice is mimicking, it's modeling. It's a copycat of a diamond crystal. You take a diamond crystal, you take a flashlight and you flash it and you see all the spectrum, all the colors of the rainbow, beautiful reflections of light. So this crystal lattice is behaving just like that diamond crystal.
Back into your skin.
Back into your skin. So your body is 98.6, 98.7 degrees. Some of us run a little cooler, some of us are a little hotter, but basically 98.7 degrees Fahrenheit, right? That is infrared light that's not contained in your body. It's inside your body. It's generated from the inside of your body, but it emanates outside of your body. And if I were to look at night vision goggles, I would be able to see that you glow in the dark infrared light.
Right.
That infrared light, again, you're the battery that activates this wireless device that has organic nanotechnology. It's going to bounce off of this crystal lattice, and then it's going to reflect back like a mirror into your bloodstream, and it's going to activate GHKCU copper peptide. So copper peptide is what turns on a third of your previously dormant stem cells. So now this is.
And I'm so excited. I'm like, just get to the good stuff. Tell me how to get to it.
So here's the juice. Here's the good stuff. So it's going to repair cellular damage. It's going to increase and restore your collagen. Collagen is the number one building block protein for skin and tissue in the body. Super exciting. It's going to rebuild scar tissue. So newsflash, when it's rebuilding your scar tissue, whatever scar tissue you have, it's going to throw that out as a toxin or as waste, and it's going to replace it with the original tissue based on your original playbook and blueprint when you were conceived.
Oh my. So I have one kidney. I donated a kidney to I was going to ask you that too. I donated a kidney to my sister 24 years ago. And I have a significant scar from that and scar tissue built throughout my body. So eventually that'll all go away.
Mm-hmm. With this.
And what about the implant of metal in my body? Will that be a problem? What do they do with implants?
We have people with pacemakers. I have one guy who has 12 stents. He has 12 stents in his heart. He just turned 93 years old. We started him in October on the patches because he had horrible back surgery for terrible sciatica pain that he had. Exciting thing to know about him is that even though he has, the stents that they put in him are made out of steel.
Right. Mine's titanium. I know that, but
Yeah, so we have people who have steel in their body. Other people have like titanium rods in their back and in their legs, etc. I even have a guy who has some titanium plates in his brain because he was in a motorcycle accident. Anywho, there is no negative interaction with that. Now, what we're seeing with the 93-year-old is, to me, it's fascinating because he came to me in October with horrible pain. His son was one of the first ones who came out. He called me and he said, Lillian, he goes, those stem cell activation patches that you keep talking about, my dad just had surgery on Friday. It was now a Sunday. He goes, Dad just had surgery on Friday. He's now at home. He's in terrible pain. Prior to the surgery, his pain level was a 9 to a 10, unbearable. 0 is no pain. 10 is like you can't stand it, right? And he was
right.
describing his pain at a level 9, 10, excruciating. After he had the surgery, his pain level was a 15, excruciating. It was worse than it was before. He had a 3-inch incision at the base of his spine by his coccyx.
Okay.
He was not doing well. And he had gone on that Sunday. Duke had taken his father to the doctor. The doctor, because the painkillers and narcotics, none of them were working. The doctor gave him an injection. I don't know. He never told me what the injection was, but he said, this will take it down in 30 minutes to an hour. He won't feel any pain. So now it's 3 in the afternoon and his father's still in excruciating pain, moaning, hasn't slept since he came home. So he's like, I don't know if he's going to make this because he's hasn't been able to sleep nights and he's in bad shape and he's moaning and groaning and it's just horrible. So I said, come on down. I have everything you need. So he came down. He drove 2 hours from Santa Clarita, came down, turned around, ended up going, he got back to Santa Clarita at 9 o'clock at night. We jumped on a Zoom call just like this, and we did a patch placement call. And I told him, okay, we're going to have to use the Fantastic Five. We're going to have to double up because his pain is so severe to bring his pain level down. So we did the Fantastic Five and Ice Wave. And I told him, normally I would have you report back to me after 6 hours. Someone that's in that anyone who's recently had surgery, I like them to report back at the half-life because you're supposed to wear the patches 12 hours. And so at 6 hours, I'd like to hear back. However, it was 9 o'clock at night when we did the patch placement, and I wasn't going to have him, call me at 3 in the morning. So I told him, just contact me at midnight, let me know, report back to me what his pain level is, his inflammation, and, his demeanor. And then make sure he's drinking, while he's awake, make sure he's drinking 50% his fluid weight in ounces of water. And sidebar, the patches are supposed to be worn during the day. These are supposed to be, you put them on first thing in the morning.
Daytime energy, right.
8, 9, 10 o'clock. So let's say 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. and then you take them off at night. But this man had surgery on Friday. He hasn't slept in 4 days. And he's in excruciating pain. There's no need for me to wait till tomorrow morning to apply the patches. He needed pain relief now. So we applied the patches at 9 p.m. at night. At midnight, he called me back and he's like, he's finally sleeping. So I'm like, thank goodness. I said, okay, so he's supposed to wear the patches for 12 hours. But if he's still sleeping at 9 o'clock in the morning, don't wake him up. Let him continue whenever he wakes up, then report back to me, and then we will apply the patches again for him, later in the day. But we need to, there's always exceptions because we have to take care of whatever that person in particular needs. It doesn't matter that these are supposed to be daytime patches. He needed the cellular repair. He also needed the pain relief now. Like we couldn't wait till the next morning. So we did that. Fast forward to Wednesday now, and then I was monitoring him every day. Wednesday, he was walking with 2 canes. On Friday, he was walking with a walking stick. By the following Sunday, he ditched the walking stick and he was telling Duke, he goes, you know what? He goes, I'm actually feeling pretty good. Now, he still had a little bit of pain, but he's like able to sleep. He's no longer needing 2 canes or a walking stick. And he's telling his son, I'm actually feeling pretty good. 8 days on the patches. This is a 92-year-old man who has 12 stents in his heart. He has high blood pressure. Also, because he's 92. So now fast forward to just last month. So just last month, he, because he's every other month he's at his doctor's. And so they're taking, blood tests and everything else. So the doctors could not believe that of the 12 stents that he has in his heart, 2 of the stents are dissolving in areas of his heart that no longer need the stents.
Oh.
I was like, what? Never. That's the first person that I deal with, that I've personally had a hand in, that I'm getting this direct report back. I'm like, OMG, 2 of the stents in his heart. And the doctors are like, we don't understand this because these are steel stents. They're supposed to last a lifetime. And it happens to be in the 2 spots of the body where the body no longer needs it. You know, those 2 areas of the heart. So like, we can't explain this. His blood pressure, his sugar, his triglycerides, his cholesterol, all these numbers are going back. They're going now into normal range. And this is a 93-year-old man.
Lillian, I don't mean to interject, but we have like less than 15 minutes when she's got to go. So I know you still have a lot to cover, and I'm sorry that I spent time asking you questions in the beginning. I hope I didn't.
No, it's okay. So we're gonna get through this. So the next thing, that we're still on just the mother stem cell activation patch, which is the foundation of your house. So the next thing this does is it increases energy. It's going to increase your sexual libido, your antioxidants, your anti-aging, your anti-inflammation. It's going to give you pain relief anywhere from 50 to 100% pain relief within 3 to 4 minutes just from this mother stem cell activation patch. You're going to get deeper, sounder, improved sleep. Like in my case, you're going to get hair growth. Many people report back hair growth. And I also like to bring to people's attention that we have this Veritas Concilium, which is basically a true plan of action, what doctors call a protocol, using traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture points to magnify the effects of these patches on the body. So you can think of your stem cells, they're like ink cartridges, because when you have brand new cartridges, you have crisp copies of the original. But when you have like less than 20 or 10% of the ink left in a cartridge, you have faded copies, right, of the original. You can definitely tell the difference. The same thing is true with you when you only have 30, 20, 10% of your stem cells left. So let's go on to our daughter stem cell activation patch. That's the X49. So that's going to be like.
But you need both because they do different functions.
They do they do. Yeah, that's why you want to do Fantastic Five, because you want to take care of the primary systems of the body, not just.
I see. I see. I see all the
body.
differences. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see, this one does something entirely different.
Yeah.
Patch, as soon as it touches your skin, it's activating AHKCU instead of GHKCU, copper peptide. So it's activating that, and when it does that, it creates radiation poisoning relief. It increases your lean muscle mass, because as we age, lean muscle mass and strength disappears. This is the one that increases your bone density. Very, very powerful, because bones serve as not just the structure of the body, but they're also conductors. They're semiconductors in the body. They're actually a source of transmitting electrons, electrolytes. There are semiconductors in our body. We'll talk about that on another time.
Yeah.
This also increases your energy, your focus, your cardiovascular system. It's going to protect you against electromagnetic frequencies from your modem, your router, 5G, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi radiation, LED lights, not just in your car, not just in your place of work, but LED lights and any electrical components in your home or in your place of work or business, or as you're out and about in restaurants, stores, and so forth. This particular patch will use your belly fat as a primary source of energy. So instead of using sugar, which is what the body is usually designed, usually it likes to use sugar first, then fat. But this patch is going to use the belly fat first as an immediate store of energy to replace and do all these things that this patch does. And because
what if you, when you use, so I'm not remarkably heavy anyway. What if when you don't have belly fat, then is that more of a caloric exchange then? It's just food in, food out type of thing?
Yeah, it'll just use whatever food that you've eaten during the day, because some people don't have any belly fat whatsoever. So if you don't have that, then it's like, okay, so it's just going to go ahead and use whatever you've eaten in that day. It's just going to use it to create this energy system in the body to replace and restore everything. And in doing so,
it doesn't use the dead skin cell. Like when you do fasting diet and you get into it doesn't do autophagy.
No, it's actually, it will purge. Those are like zombie cells, dead cells. So those are going to get purged through your body
anyway.
Yeah, through the next patch, because the first patch, increases your glutathione levels 30%. But
Okay.
the next three are the master antioxidants of the body, and just drop the patch. Sleep here, sorry.
And we got to talk fast.
Yeah, so, and the next three, let's talk about glutathione, because there's three primary master antioxidants of the body that are being addressed here with the Fantastic Five. This one, glutathione, very brief description you'll see here. This is all glutathione does, but it's paramount in your body. To the degree that you have glutathione in your body, you have health, well-being, and you have longevity. This is responsible for detoxifying your body. It's also tied to your immune system, so it immediately boosts your immune system. Glutathione stimulating hormone, as soon as your body is in contact with this patch, within 24 hours, your original glutathione levels, based on your original playbook that you were conceived with, boost to 300 to as high as 600%. So through urination, perspiration, defecation, sweat, pee, and poop it out, you're going to get rid of any toxins and any germs, viruses, or bacteria. Since your immune system is increased, it's going to be purged through those means that I just mentioned.
And I have to throw this out there. Parasites.
Yeah. So parasites, when they die in your body, as you're probably aware, they emit toxins, which
Right.
people terrible effects. So this is going to detox you from those things.
But is it a parasite cleanse too, or do you have to do a parasite cleanse as a separate issue?
You still have to do a parasite cleanse separately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So glutathione. The next thing to know is carnosine. Carnosine, I like to tell people, okay, so you've got your bearing wall, you've got two more walls here, right? So now carnosine, in the States we have everyone. Who doesn't love Mexican food? Who doesn't love carne asada tacos? I'm sure lots of us are going to have carne asada tacos for the 4th of July. Anyhow, the carnosine patch, the word carnosine, carne in Latin means flesh. It means meat. So carnosine is this master antioxidant which supports and improves your cardiovascular system, all things that are related to heart and muscle. It improves your healthy brain function, memory, focus, and brain processing time. Love this patch. And it increases your strength, your stamina, your endurance. And if you have any wounds in your body, because it's dealing with the flesh and your cardiovascular system, it's going to aid wound repair in your body. Very important. Very different from the other patches, as you can see. This one's dealing with your cardiovascular system and your brain function. Very, very important. Also increases your strength and your stamina. So then the fifth of the Fantastic Five is the Eon patch. Completely different than all of these, but you're going to see how, wow, together, everything comes together for the primary systems of the body. So now the Eon patch. Love this patch. This is another master anti-inflammatory. We call this the happy patch because Eon is an anti-stress patch, and it raises actinioplasms, which I'm going to tell you in a second what that is. It increases the DHEA, fountain of youth hormone. It does brain balancing of your left and your right brain hemisphere. Pause button. A lot of people think of the brain as one organ. The brain is actually two organs. Your left brain hemisphere does something entirely different, is an entirely separate organ from your right brain hemisphere. I talk about it in a book that I wrote last year called The Intuition Manifesto. I quote Jill Bolte Taylor, who is a brain specialist who specialized in strokes, and then she had one. She wrote a book, incredible book called The Stroke of Insight, but she talks about how the left brain hemisphere and the right brain hemisphere, we know that those are two separate organs. They don't share information, believe it or not. We can cross over energy from the left to the right, but this patch will balance your left and your right brain hemisphere. It creates a calming effect. So if you have stress, if you're in an environment or in a workplace or a home environment that has struggle, frustration, if you have deadlines, a lot of demands on you.
That's always.
So this is going to create a calming effect.
So I'm going to pause you here for just a second because I have 1,000 questions and I have to go to the bathroom before I have another Zoom thing at 5.
Okay.
We're not going to get this done. Can we reschedule part 2?
Yes.
And okay, I'm going to have to because this is too much to take in and I'm not getting I don't even have time to ask you questions now.
Let's set up another time.
Absolutely. Because very, very interested.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm thinking of my daughter. I'm thinking of a friend of mine. So like now I'm thinking past just me, and I can't possibly go there in 3 minutes.
It's probably good that this is happening, because this way you can sleep on it, Kim, and then you'll be able to come up with more questions. So tomorrow's 4th of July. So I'm sure you guys are busy.
Yeah, I'm okay with Wednesday or Thursday. I do have commitments
Thursday
at night.
we have a call scheduled, but you could join that call, but she's going to cover some stuff. So you want to do it just us. Okay. So
we could even do later tonight if you'd like.
Well, I'm free. It just depends on the two of you.
I'm free.
I just have a commitment for an hour here, and then I'm good.
Okay. Well, it's totally up to you guys then, because I'm free.
So if you
I would love to come back in an hour. I'll just have to, you send me the meeting link, or we continue this meeting. I don't know how it works. And then I can come back on when I'm done. I'll just need time to go to the bathroom in between, and then we'll jump on and we'll just get her finished. But that way it's kind of fresh. And yeah, I do have a lot of questions. So there's just no way that we could even begin. So we're going to talk about like an hour and say 10 minutes or so from now, 15, maybe 6:15 my time.
Yeah, I have a Zoom already set for 4 p.m. my time, so which is an hour from now, but at 5 o'clock, 2 hours from now, I'm available.
Let's do that.
That's 7 o'clock Central.
Okay, 5 o'clock?
Yep.
Okay.
I can do that.
Great.
So I'll put you in.
Perfect.
Okay.
So do we call in the same number?
Use the same link. The same link.
Okay.
Just
all right.
We'll see you
Thank
at
you
5
so
p.m.
much. We'll see you then.
Thank you both. Okay.
Sure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.